The big class in Minnesota high school football has three new teams, Moorhead, Andover, and Rogers, arguably making the 6A playoffs even more difficult. Since August, 6A players, teams, and coaches have been working, sacrificing, winning and losing to get to this moment. The Class 6A playoffs have arrived. Yes, it's true, the football field is a place to beat rivals and make friends for life. But now there is urgency. It's win or go home. You've always played football with reckless abandon, but now for seniors, there's the possibility with a loss, you'll never put the pads on again. People of all sizes, shapes, and talents make up 6A football in Minnesota. But starting now, heart and the will to survive, to play another day, is a huge part of the equation. This is the Talk North Class 6A football selection show, and the postseason starts now. Well, good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Class 6A selection show here on Talk North. I'm Randy Shaver. I'll introduce our panel here in a second. This show is presented by Aquarius Home Services and brought to you by 612 Quarterbacks, True Stone Financial, and 10K Construction. Thanks for being here this morning. I know there's a number of teams that are watching from your schools to find out where you're going to play, when you're going to play, and who you're going to play in the Class 6A football playoffs. This morning, in just a few minutes, we're going to reveal the playoff brackets exclusively right here, and then these coaches will have a chance to break it down. Let me introduce who we have here this morning. In the far right corner up there, Ben Burke. He's the head football coach at Lakeville South. The Lakeville South football team finished 6-2, lost a tough game last night to Rosemount 20-15. In front of Ben, sitting to my right here, is Brad Beskow. Brad has been with this show 3 years in a row. He's a regular on the program. Forest Lake finished 7-1 this season, upset by Mounds View in Week 7. Had a great season. Sitting back row here is Nick Keenan. He's the head football coach at Champlin Park. And Champlin finished 7-1 with a very nice season. Their only loss was to Centennial early in the year. He's representing Section 5. And sitting next to me is Mark Esch. He's the head football coach at Minnetonka. The Skippers finished 6-2 this season. Mark representing Section 6. They lost a tough football game last night to Maple Grove, the number one team, and I think we would all agree right now, the number one seed in Class 6A, the only undefeated team in 6A, 30-14 was the final. These guys know the seeds in their section. They know what teams are seated where. They just don't know what's going to happen when we cross over. And that's the beauty of the 6A football playoff bracket. You don't just play the teams that you just got done playing. You're going to cross over and play basically new teams. And you'll find in this bracket this morning that in all the matchups, in 16 matchups, only 2 teams played each other in the regular season. So it is really unique this year that we're going to see quite a bit of difference in who you're going to face in this game. I was on a Zoom call this morning with the Minnesota High School League to get the brackets, so I'm the only one of the 5 of us here who know who's playing who. So before we start, let's just get some general comments, and I'll start with you, Mark. You played Maple Grove last night. Talk about, that game, what you saw from Maple Grove, and kind of where you think you guys are, because you're going to get your quarterback back next week, and that's going to make a big difference for you guys. But you had a chance to see this number one seed firsthand. Tough game. You were winning, too.
Yeah, we jumped up 14-0. We had momentum, and then it just slowly slipped away. And that's credit to Maple Grove. They're a great football team. They have some great players and a great team. I think everybody agrees is the number one seed, like you said. But you know what? Anybody can be beat in this league.
Yep.
And so you just got to go out and play your best football game, create turnovers. I think Minnesota football is about protecting the football and not turning the ball over and taking advantage of big plays when they're there. And anybody can beat anybody any given week.
Yeah. Up north, you guys, Nick, very competitive. A lot of very good football teams. Osseo stepping up this year under Darren Lampker. Centennial, very tough. You guys had a great year. Andover in their first year in 6A. How would you characterize what you saw this year in the competition? And as we talk about maybe parity a little bit in 6A.
Yeah, there's some great teams up in the north. I guess, we can say the north has won the last 3 state championships. We talk about that a little bit. Now Maple Grove moved on, but there's just a lot of really close games and a lot of skilled players and great coaches. I all the way down to our 7th seed is Anoka, and there are a few games here and there, and they could be 4-4 or so. So whoever draws them is gonna have a tough game. And like Coach Esch said, there in 6A, there's not usually a week off. There's so many good teams, good players, and good coaches. So I think it's going to be a great tournament.
Brad, health is such a big deal this time of year. You guys all know this. It's not so much who you play, but it's when you play them.
Yep.
And if you're healthy when you play teams, you have a much better chance. Forest Lake, 7-1 coming in. Are you guys healthy? Are you in a good position?
Yep. Yeah, I think we're like a lot of teams in the fact that we're healthy. We have all our players playing. Guys got bumps and bruises throughout the season, but you play through that. It's football. You get to this time in October and November, and if you want to keep playing, you're going to be playing through some of those things, and that's why the good teams win and keep playing and get better and those kind of things. So kind of a war of attrition as you go throughout the season.
One of the beauties of high school football is when a team has a dismal year one year and they come back the next. Rosemount, the perfect example. They won 1 game last year. They lost their opener this year to Centennial. Then they rattle off 7 straight, including Ben beating you guys last night. What did you see in that Rosemount team? And what did you take away for your team from that 20-15 loss last night?
Yeah, Rosemount's well coached. They've been that way. Their one down year doesn't really describe who they are as a program. We've been battling those guys over there, and they always find a way to defend us well and make plays. And kind of what Coach said, there's 3 or 4 plays in a football game that make a huge difference, and players that kind of don't get rattled by the lights make the plays. And it's at this time of year for us, it's all about trying to find ways to make more plays and limit the other team's ability to do that. And last night Rosemount capitalized when they needed to, and we have some work to do in that area. And really what it comes down to is, like Coach said, with the war of attrition, I think it's our guys need to kind of rally around that. I think we'd all say that and grow and take steps and be playing our best football week 8. It's Minnesota, everybody makes the playoffs, right? And so you're trying to grow throughout week 1 to 2 to 3 and then to really find out who you are. And then we get in this time of the year, we all kind of have an identity, and then being able to lean into that and play our best players, right? And put it on our players, right? We want players to make the plays and win games for us, so we got to find ways to do that.
All right, it's time to look ahead. Winter will be here before you know it, which means your furnace better be ready to roll. So make sure, thanks to Aquarius Home Services. Right now, they have a crazy good deal. A furnace tune-up for only $29. Yep, $29. A trained technician will give your HVAC system a thorough evaluation. They'll go over all the findings with you, and trust me, it's better to find the problems now before the snow flies. Find out more at AquariusHomeservices.com. Aquarius, earning the right to be recommended. 10K Construction is your one stop for all your general contracting needs, whether interior, exterior, residential, commercial, or multifamily properties. They build relationships with their clients, and that's how they've grown their business through referrals. Plus, they are teaming up with LP SmartSide to become Minnesota's premier siding installer. And they're also partnering with IKO Shingles as well. They've got the best of the best to do the job right. 10K Construction covers both Minnesota and Wisconsin. Now, the rumor is they charge a little extra because it's Packer land. I'm not sure about that, but what I am sure about, 10K Construction is the company you want handling all of your general contracting needs. Go to 10kconstruction.com for details. I think it's fair to say that the 3 teams that moved up from 5A to 6A have elevated this tournament in Class 6A. I think they add some interesting matchups through, and we'll see this when we reveal the brackets. So Andover, Rogers, and Moorhead, moving up from 5A to 6A this year. So this is how this is going to go. We're going to reveal 4 brackets of 8. And they're set up this way. They're upper left, upper right, lower right. And so we're going to start with the upper left bracket of 8 teams. And here we go. The number 1 seed on this side is Rosemount. They will take on Park Cottage Grove. Rosemount finishing 7-1, Park with a record of 1-7. So Rosemount's the 1, Park is the 8. The 4-5 matchup is a good one. St. Michael Albertville, the number 5 seed, will be at Osseo. Osseo finished 4-4, St. Michael at 3-5. The 6-3 matchup is White Bear Lake at Prior Lake. That's a good matchup. Prior Lake 4-4. They played a very tough schedule. And there, Minnetonka, Mark Esch, you're the number 2 seed. You will face Anoka in the opening round of the football playoffs on Friday night next week. And I understand, Mark, it's a 6 o'clock start for your football game against Anoka. Let's talk about, we'll start with you, Mark, because you're the only coach whose team is up there on the bracket. Just some thoughts about Anoka and some thoughts about the bracket in overall.
Well, like Coach was talking about, Anoka, I checked their schedule before I came here, and they've played a lot of close football games.
Yes, they have.
And I know they have a talented squad. So we're gonna focus on Anoka, and then it looks like quite likely it goes through the South, right? Prior Lake, who we played earlier in the season, Rosemount if the number 1 seed comes through. But St. Michael's, I don't know much about Osseo, but St. Michael's playing really good football right now.
Well, you've got Nick Keenan sitting right behind you. He could probably fill you in. You got 3 of you guys played Prior Lake this year. Talk about Prior Lake because, they're always physical, very tough. What would you say as you look at that 6-3 matchup? What is Prior Lake? What's the problems Prior Lake presents?
You said it. They're big, right? They're big and they do a lot. They're well coached. And their kids compete hard. Every game that we've played against them seems like a 1-score game at the end. We appreciate the physicality that they bring. It's our brand of football down in the South, and they're doing that well. And they're playing their best football right now, so it'll be dangerous.
You guys faced them 3 years in a row in the opening game of the season.
Yep. Yeah, and they added an element this year. They're a physical football team always and can run the ball, but they can throw it a little bit this year now too. They got the big kid, 6'6" kid that they can throw fade balls to, and the quarterback can sling it a little bit. So adding that element to them makes them a tough team for sure.
All right, so that is the upper left, and let me just say them again. Rosemount, Park, Osseo, St. Michael, White Bear Lake, Prior Lake, Anoka, Minnetonka. All right, let's go to the lower left part of this bracket on the same side of 16. The number 1 seed, Brad Beeskow, Forest Lake. They'll open up against Coon Rapids on Friday night. The 4-5 matchup is a good one. It is. Here it comes. Farmington, Edina. Edina will host Farmington. And so, Brad, they're on that side of the bracket, your side. Lakeville North, they're going to be playing the 3 seed, Eden Prairie. Yes, the Eagles are the 3 seed on this side of the bracket. Brace yourself, Nick Keenan, because you're the 1 seed, or the 2 seed rather, on that side of the bracket. So it's Forest Lake against Coon Rapids, Farmington at Edina, Lakeville North at Eden Prairie, and Roseville at Champlin Park. And I'll start with you, Brad. You're the 1 seed. Congratulations. As you look at that bracket, there's a lot of talent from top to bottom in that bracket.
Yep. Yeah, that was the word that came to my head right away. Talent. There's talent in every single team that's in that side of the bracket. Teams that can run the football, teams that can throw the football, obviously great quarterback play, big offensive lines and defensive lines. It's going to be a really fun challenge on that side of the bracket.
Nick Keenan, you take a look. You're the number 2 seed here. If you get by Roseville, you got 2 very tough football teams there, Eden Prairie and Lakeville North. What's your thought process as you see this?
Well, we just played Lakeville North a few weeks ago. We scrimmaged Eden Prairie. I'm from Eden Prairie. Played
for
Coach
Mike Grant. Yeah.
Yep. There's some really good teams in this bracket, but like I said, all of 6A is very solid, and we're excited for that. Watching Eden Prairie through all these years, and Coach Grant, he's got his 11 state championships. It'd be a great battle, but they're big up front. They do a great job. But like you said, we got to, get by Roseville, and there's no easy games in 6A.
Is it fair to say, Mark, that as you look at that bracket, that certainly Eden Prairie, because you played them, but you played Edina too.
Yeah.
And they're dangerous this time of year. How would you describe them in this tournament?
Well, they beat us, and Mason West is a great quarterback, and he has some receivers, but their running back, number 1, was a stud against us. He really broke out, and he was tough to tackle.
Beauregard.
Yeah. Yep. And their defense is stout. Probably the best D-line we faced this year. Arguably Maple Grove last night, but they're a tough team.
All right, so 3 of the 4 coaches sitting here are on this side of the bracket: Forest Lake, Champlain Park, and Minnetonka, along with Rosemount on that side of the bracket. So now we're going to go to the upper right, and we start with the 1 seed, and it's Centennial. The Cougars are going to face Hopkins on the opening night. Hopkins finished 4-4. They won all 4 of their games in the Maroon Division this year. The 4-5. How about Shakopee? They earned the 4 seed. They will play Stillwater. That's the only game where there's a rematch. Shakopee beat Stillwater earlier this year, 49-28. The 6 seed, dangerous, Moorhead. They're in. They're going to be playing Blaine in the opening night of the high school football playoffs next Friday night. And the 7-2 is Egan at Woodbury. So it is Centennial against Hopkins, Shakopee against Stillwater, Moorhead will travel to Blaine, and Egan takes on Woodbury. Let's talk about Moorhead, because I think they're a very interesting story. You guys were talking about this before we came on live. They may be the most dangerous 6 seed that we could see in the 6A bracket. Finished 4-4. Their quarterback missed quite a bit of the season, Jet Feeney. Came back last night. They beat Edina 51-44. What's your thought process? Whoever wants to take it. Who played Moorhead this year? You did, Mark. Yep. Talk about them.
I'm just going to say this. I wouldn't be surprised if the 6 seed goes deep into that bracket or even competes for that bracket. They're a good football team. We played them with their backup quarterback, and I thought he was a really good player too.
Yeah.
And their skill kids are really good. So it's going to be interesting.
Nick, you saw Centennial this year. Talk about them. Good football team. Mike Diggins always does a great job with the Cougars.
Yeah, look at their schedule. They beat Rosemount, who some people would maybe say is playing some of the best. They just won the state championship a couple of years ago. They always do a great job there. Very physical. They stick to what they do. They run their offense really well. Tough on defense. Yeah, that bracket, the Moorhead, just surprises. It can surprise anybody. It's fun to see these teams from 5A move up to 6A, and they're getting their quarterback back. So who knows? That bracket's gonna be fun to watch.
And you've seen Blaine, and they're a good football team.
Yep.
5-3 this year.
Yeah, there's a bunch of good teams up in the north. Blaine just played Centennial real tough.
Yep.
So, it just seems like there's so many good matchups here in Minnesota. That's good to see.
Woodbury gets the 2 seed. Are you surprised at all, Brad?
No, they honestly have been doing this all season. You see Woodbury, a team, we got them pretty good when we played them at our place, and then they haven't lost since. So they're playing really good defensively. I don't think they've given up more than 13 in a game since then. So the defense is really rolling around. The quarterback's playing really well. They got a really good back and some guys up front that can play. So Woodbury's a team to watch too.
Ben, are you feeling lonely up there?
Yeah, sure.
I
know what's
you
coming.
know what's coming, right? All right, let's go to the lower right side of the bracket. The final 8 teams, and Maple Grove is the number 1 seed on this side. They will open up against Eastview. Maple Grove 8-0. The 4-5 on this side, I think it's interesting. Andover is the 5 seed, Eastridge the 4 seed. That's going to be a good football game, and usually the 4-5s are the best matchups in the opening round of 6A. The 6 seed is Rogers, brand new team to Class 6A, and they will travel to Moundsview to take on the Mustangs on Friday night. And that leaves Ben Burke and Lakeville South taking on Wayzata, who you've seen in the past quite a few times. Lakeville South at 6-2, Wayzata at 1-7. So just to review, Maple Grove will open up against Eastview. Eastridge will play Andover. Rogers is at Moundsview, and Wayzata at Lakeville South. Ben, give me your take. as you look at this bracket?
There's familiarity for us, right? Like you said, Maple Grove, obviously, we've all sung their praises and they've earned it. And then all the way down, there's good teams and good coaches in there. And so I'm just going to echo, like, none of us are going to say that we can get by anybody because our league is so deep. And it's kind of cool in 6A. We all have we can talk about everybody else's schedule because there's only 32 teams and we watch them all.
Right.
The kids know that, right? The kids know each other and they watch film, and that's kind of a credit to 6A as a class. There's no easy games, and it's because everybody's so well coached and there's familiarity there. So we're going to take process to into the playoffs and think one game at a time, one day at a time, and see what comes.
It's such a unique tournament from all different angles. I love the 4-5. Brad, you saw Eastridge this year.
Yep.
You saw Andover. Talk about this matchup.
Yep.
What do you think?
Eastridge is good, and they got the quarterback back. Cedric Thomas is back. Yep. He's a phenomenal player, obviously a great athlete, committed to the U to play basketball. They play really, really stout defensively, too. Got a D lineman that's committed to St. Thomas, I think, and they're really, really good. They're going to be fundamentally sound, tackle. They're coached really well by Fritzy, and I'm excited for that matchup.
So, Nick, Andover goes to 6A this year, and I think they surprised some people with the way that they played. Tom DeVellis does a great job up there. Talk about Andover.
Yeah, I mean, they beat Centennial, so you just tell,
Right.
it comes around. They just do a great job up there. We looked last year, they're averaging 40 points a game. Like, can you do that at the 6A level? Well, I think they can. Maybe they're the third highest scoring team, something like that. So they do a great job on offense, keeping you, off balance. But those coaches up there and those kids up there, they play hard. They're used to winning. That's gonna be a great game.
The Mounds View game against Rogers. Mounds View is the only team that beat you this year. Talk about them because they're starting to play some pretty good football right
For sure. Another team that's really trending in the right direction.
Right.
They got a tough schedule to open the year. I think they obviously opened up with Lakeville South and Maple Grove and good teams. So trending up in the right time of the year. They got good players over there. They're physical. They play really, really good defense. They're sound. And then they got a really home run hitter on offense in the Godson kid. So he plays receiver, running back, moving around, plays defense, plays all over the place. He's a problem. So he's going to be really, really fun to watch in the playoffs.
This episode is brought to you by 612 Quarterbacks, Minnesota's premier quarterback development program. At 612 Qs, they're committed to creating a high-quality quarterback development program, both affordable and accessible. Their training goes beyond the basics, not only focusing on proper throwing mechanics and footwork, but also building strong football IQ, leadership, and resilience. Their mission is to educate, inspire, and challenge athletes to raise their standards on the field and in life. Through training and mentorship, they're building more than quarterbacks. They're building a community rooted in growth, accountability, and shared success. Learn more today at 612quarterbacks.com. These days, you can get a checking account, a credit card, or a mortgage just about anywhere. But what you can't always find is the personal touch of a neighborhood credit union like True Stone Financial. I've known the folks at True Stone for many years. They put people first. They take time with you, they get to know you, and they use their expertise to connect with the services that help achieve your financial well-being. True Stone is a not-for-profit financial institution owned by the very people they serve, and they're in your neighborhood. Visit truestone.org and get to know them. They can't wait to meet you. True Stone is an equal housing opportunity lender.
All right, let's show you the number one seeds so that everybody knows who the top seeds are in the Class 6A state tournament. And they are Maple Grove, Centennial, Forest Lake, and Rosemount. Those are the number one seeds in the four brackets of Class 6A. Give me a wild card. Ben, I'll start with you. Give me a wild card. It can't be your team. Give me a wild card in 6A.
Take your pick. I mean, we talked a little bit about Moorhead. They're new to the 6A, right? A lot of us have film on a lot of each other for going back many years, and way up in Moorhead, that presents problems for anybody that, but coach knows how to coach, and those kids, we see them in different sports like weightlifting, and they have a culture up there in Moorhead that is physical and tough, and then they got the skill guys to prove it, and they're getting really good quarterback play no matter who's playing. So I'm keeping my eye on them, and then I just really never count anybody out. You saw a couple weeks ago, there's upsets everywhere, and like Coach said, anybody can beat anybody, and so we got to all kind of lock in, and I think we're all going to have the same message for our team like that.
How about you, Brad? Who's the wild card for you?
I was on Moorhead as well, but I won't steal Coach's thunder on it. You can never count out Eden Prairie. You can never count out Edina. You can never count out some of those teams, obviously, out west that play in that tough schedule, all playing each other. It's exciting. It's going to be a great challenge for all of us. And like we've kind of been saying all over, anybody can beat anybody any given week.
You know, Nick, I didn't even talk about Osseo, but Darren Lampker's done such a nice job at Osseo. They played tough all year. They played you last night. What do you think of them?
Yeah, he's doing a great job with what they have. You know, a huge turnaround from last year. But yeah, real tough. I don't know where they found these guys, but they have about 5 300-pound linemen. Yeah, he's doing great things. And you know what? If you watch some of their films, he's leaving it all out there. There's fake punts, there's trick plays. So he's doing great over there, and they're going to be a tough out.
How about your team?
Hey, you know, we just keep finding ways to win. Yeah, all of us have had successful seasons. All of us had some seasons where we thought we could do a little bit better. And as a coach, you know, we tell our kids every morning after, regardless of win or loss, there's some things you got to work on. You know, and my coaches growing up would say the team that makes the least amount of mistakes is going to win the game. And you know, every week the tape doesn't lie. So we've been talking to our kids. You know, small thing about our team is we only have 14 seniors this year, and for a school our size, we had 50 last year. You know,
Wow.
So we're starting predominantly all juniors. We thought we'd take some lumps, but the kids have been pushing through and just finding ways to win. So as all the coaches know, when you win that next day of film, you can get on the kids about, you know, execution and technique. But if you're winning, I think it starts, you know, breeding some confidence in the kids. So we're just excited to get in, and we don't talk about the records or the rankings or anything like that. It's about execution.
So here you sit at 6-2. You've lost your last 2 games to Edina and Maple Grove. Talk about your football team.
Well, I think our confidence is still high. I think our kids believe we can put something together and win it. We lost 2 of our last 3 last year, and then we just got in the playoffs. Everything started clicking. We had that extra jolt getting our QB back with Caden. And so I feel good about where we're at. And I think